you guys get some help from it. We run quite a big website on WordPress, so for those of you who are doubting WordPress, it is possible. Crazy things are possible on WordPress, trust me. So just a little bit about me. I can get this running. Okay, you know my name, that's my Twitter handle. I'm very new to the WordCamp WordPress community because we only launched this website a year ago. But before that, we were on WordPress, but not as intense. Yeah, just a little bit about who I am. Part entrepreneur, part executive, part content manager. So I kind of manage the website for us. I'm trying to do coding. I really suck at it at the moment, to be honest. I've written one very small plugin that just says hello.
It counts.
No, it counts. Thank you. And then, yeah, I love challenging WooCommerce and WordPress about its capacities and what it can actually do for you. So I come up with new features and ideas, and I find someone who's willing to implement it for me, or who's willing to customize and write something for me. And most of the time, yes, it's quite hectic, but it's been possible almost every time with what I want to do. I'll show you guys some of the unique plugins as well. Okay, yeah, that's basically me. So that is our website name. What we do is we import that brand. The brand is called Horse. It's an international brand. Basically what it does is it sells equestrian equipment, equestrian colors, and everything you put on a horse, basically, as well as on the person that rides. So if you got that, then that's basically it. But it's only one brand, but it's a very wide brand. It covers all aspects. Sometimes you get a brand that only does the shirts, only does the pants. This brand does everything. So we currently have a wholesale platform where our wholesalers buy. We supply about 56 shops in South Africa. We have a retail website, which we launched last year, and then 2 physical shops, one in Vanderbijl Park and then one in the Parel in Cape Town. So yeah, we launched, the reason why I'm here is basically because our website has done so well. We launched last year, 1st of September, and we sold over 1 million in the first year online. So that's, I think, pretty good for a very, very small target market. I mean, you're literally targeting people who have a horse, or has somebody, a family that has a horse. So your target market is this small. So if you don't do it right, you won't be successful, basically. So yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I didn't actually realize that until I checked it recently, and then I sent it to our developers. So that was quite impressive. We manage over 8,000 products on WordPress and WooCommerce. So we use WooCommerce for the stock and selling it. And then this is a little bit of the crazy part. One of our products, our biggest product, has 123 variants. I don't know if you understand what that means. But basically, if you take your shirt and you times it by 123 colors and sizes, like I can pack out the whole floor with one product. That's basically what it comes down to. So you've got maybe, let's say, 3 sizes. We've got 3 sizes of the product, and then you've got 40 colors of that product. So it's really insane. So that product has given me a little bit of uphill. But it's a very necessary product, so we have to keep it. All right. We have some very unique features and plugins on the website, and I will share that just now. Just a few screenshots. I'm going to go through them very quickly so we can get to the rest. This is currently what the website looks like. Very, very simple design. Simplicity is key. I really believe that. Clutter really makes people jump and bounce off your website. So these are just some of the really cool things that we're doing at the moment. Setting up membership site. So that was a very good speech yesterday, actually, by Ivan. I don't know if you see it today. So some of the screenshots. Okay, so just a little bit about why I chose WooCommerce and WordPress, or why I think it's very good. It's very flexible, and it's already got, like somebody asked you about Dreamweaver, and he spoke a little bit about Moonfruit and stuff, but what I can say about WooCommerce and WordPress is it's never failed me, honestly. I've been able to do some amazing things, and there's already plugins that's created, there's already themes that's there. Basically what you have to do is find those things and put your content into it, and then it runs. So it's that simple and that easy. And they've got some really powerful tools. So, you know, if you're looking for invoices, there's a WooCommerce invoice PDF. There's a, you know, there's everything is already there. I'm not saying don't get a developer. You always need developers. That's just how it is. But what I'm saying is if you're a startup and you're doing your own website, it is completely possible on WordPress. It's really, really easy. They create a very easy, quick, and delightful user experience. And this is one thing that we've noticed with our customers is the simplicity of the layout, and it's very easy for them to find something. Very easy for them to maneuver around your website with WordPress, depending on how insanely intense you make your website. But for our customers, like, they've loved that. You know, it's easy to find it. Your categories are quick and easy to find. With WooCommerce as well, your layout of your products and everything is quite easy and simple to see. The price is there, the information is there, everything is there. Sorry, let me just get my mouse here. It's free, big plus. And then there's ready-to-go themes, I've already said that, and easy access to plugin and support, which is quite important if you're building your own site. Like, you can email WooCommerce, you can get some support. Just use a registered version of WooCommerce, not a ripoff. Okay, then this is the myth that I'm trying to bust. This doesn't happen. It just doesn't. It's a very big thing out there. Like, I'm going to build a website. I've actually built 2 websites myself. I've had to delete one for somebody else. I did it for free because there was no traffic on it. And I felt like I'm incurring an expense, but this person wasn't really using the site. And so the fact that you built the site, great, it's there. But like Dane said earlier as well, it doesn't mean people are going to come on it like right now. You're not going to get traffic right now. You really have to work on getting your target market and your traffic. So we'll go through a little bit of that as well. Good designs, very important. I think we all know that we're very visual people. Like, if you look at a magazine or you look at, you're Googling, for example, if you think about how many sites come up, and let's say you're looking for a topic, you go into the first or the third one, but for example, you'll bounce the moment that you're not getting what you want. And that's a consumer, that's a user. So to keep the user on your site, to browse more, to drill deeper and deeper into your site is actually quite something, like to keep them engaged, you know? And Good Designs does that. So whether you're a designer or you can find a good designer that can actually portray your brand the way you want it to look, that's very, very important on your website. Your target market. I'm going to speak a little bit about the end user just now. Or the user experience. Finding your target market is sometimes hard. It depends. For me, for example, it's quite easy. I have a very, very small target market. But if you're, for example, one of the sites I built sold any type of dress you could think of, but and she can design it and make it. So she's targeting half the population, basically. So there to find, okay, listen, yeah, I'm a designer in Joburg. I make clothing, but I can't drive to Cape Town to deliver it. So who are you actually targeting? You're actually targeting people in your vicinity, like right where you are, and that's the important thing. So you should really, really honestly focus on that. If you don't know your target market, you should be scared, because then you don't know anything about who you're actually selling to, or who you're trying to provide a service to, or any of those things. Facebook ads, Facebook page, Facebook everything. I've tried it, but I've never actually gotten any good results from Google Ads. That's unfortunately the truth for me. Whereas Facebook in South Africa is very, very big. You'll even see Instagram is starting to get there. So in the international market, Instagram's really big, but Facebook is crazy. Like, if you, for example, think how many times you click on something when you're on your wall, on your Facebook, you see something come up, whether it be shoes for a girl or I don't know what for guys. I don't have a good example, gaming or whatever it is. But click on that and it immediately takes you to the website. And I mean, we all do that. It literally, on your phone, it's so easy that you don't even realize you're doing it, because it literally opens through Safari or whatever you're using and it goes straight to that website. So Facebook ads is incredibly powerful. It really is. And what is so cool about it is you can push the minimum amount into it. Like, if you go to Facebook ads, you can start off with 50 Rand. That's literally the minimum, like 50 Rand a day or 50 Rand over 3 days. So it's not like they're saying you have to push in 2,000 Rand a month or however much money, you can start with very, very little and advertise like that. And if you know your target market, you can build your audience on Facebook, which is amazing. So you should go and pick out your audience, do that. But start it off, see how it does for you. There's a guy, they built guest houses with a hotel next to the river, Vaal River. They actually brought all their guest houses out of the red in 2 months just by pushing in money into Facebook ads. So, and he told me this, and obviously they had some backup cash flow, so that's different. But he said they literally paid off the houses they built in a few months by Facebook ads, because it's an incredibly powerful tool, and we all check it, like without even knowing. You see so many adverts on Facebook now. So that's a very, very good tool. Instagram is also very good. I also use Instagram, but I try and use Facebook more than Instagram. So I'll always push more money into Facebook than I will into Instagram. Although Instagram is becoming a more and more powerful tool in South Africa, there's still not little, but there's less people on Instagram than there is on Facebook. So that's just how it is in South Africa. MailChimp, I'll talk about some integrations later that you can do on your website, but sending out newsletters make you a little bit more creditable. Even if you're only sending it out to 20 people in the beginning, try and get people's personal information. We've had some competitions, so we, for example, obviously I have a product, so I can give away stuff, you know. So I've said, like, we'll give you a free jacket or a free this if you sign up for the newsletter. So we had little pamphlets made, sign up, and then we email them. And we actually announced the winner on the site, so it doesn't look like we're just ripping you off. There's actual winners, and they get like a page where you announce them. All right, build-ups, very important. For our website, when we launched it, we did a really, really crazy build-up. Like, we posted for maybe, how long was it, like 2-3 months maybe 2 months, that we said there was a new website coming. We didn't bombard people with it, but we kept them aware the whole time, like on Facebook. Even if you don't have an image, but you just post a status, because it still appears on their wall. Like, there's a new website coming, it's launching then. So we did quite a thing with build-ups. I love build-ups. They're really, like with Black Friday, it works. It really does. Brings in a lot of income. Last year, we didn't know what hit us on Black Friday when we walked into our offices. Like, we walked into the offices, the phone was ringing off the hook, the website had crashed, like, there was so much traffic on the website, it was insane. And we did a little bit of a build-up only for 2 weeks, and we had no idea how crazy it would be. I think we got 300 orders on one day, and then my sales target for March this year was done in 1 day, and then we doubled it and tripled it the next day. So we had our Black Friday run for 3 days. It's very crazy. This is a very big thing. If you can, you get the app called WooCommerce Smart Coupons, I think it's called, and then just have some vouchers, gifts, and rewards. We've done some pretty cool things, like we would throw in a free product. We would send our clients, like our big wholesale clients, will make a little package, we'll send them a gift with the brand on every year for Christmas. Like little things to make it special. The other big thing we started doing when we launched the site, and you can think this is something really stupid, but it makes people feel special. That's all that counts. We wrap every single order in brown paper with a ribbon and a card. And it is crazy. To think about it, I mean, if you get 300 orders a day, most of the work's not actually even packing it in the warehouse. My warehouse manager hates it because she has to wrap it. But you know, she actually even told me, like, that doesn't even take her long. What takes her long is to courier it, because she has to put a sticker, she has to put it in a bag. That takes time. But what we basically do is we just bought like this big roll of brown paper, easy, cheap brown paper. We wrap it once, we put one ribbon, and we've got like a card with a beauty shot, like a model shot, and at the back of the card it just says, like, thank you for buying from us, or whatever. And we print like thousands of those cards, so it's always the same card and a ribbon, and sometimes we change the color of the ribbon, like pink with Valentine's or whatever, and the card. So we'll like adjust the card. Like with spring, we had like a happy spring card, and I mean, that's not a lot of money. If you find a cheap printing company who does it for a fair price, you can print like 100 of those cards if you know more or less how many orders you're going to get in only for your spring sale or your Valentine's sale or whatever. User experience. So I want to talk about that a bit later, so I'm going to skip that one for now. Then something to always consider, The developers might hate me, but please don't. The thing is, I'm going to give the developers credit just now. The technology that you use doesn't impress anyone, but the experience that you create with it is everything. So the thing for me is, this saying really popped out to me. The reason for this is like your technology can be insane good, and inside your company, your IT guys, your developer guys should get all the credit, but if your users don't like it, you are not selling. And that's what counts. At the end of the day, you need to make money and you want to be able to run a profitable business. So that's why target market is so important. It doesn't help if you're making this intense site with so much text and reading and your target market is teenagers. They're not going to buy from you. So do you understand what I'm trying to get at? Like, if you go look at a skating site, for example, what do those guys want to see? Your products. They want to see like cool skating images where this guy's actually wearing your products on a skateboard. You know, you put like text in there, they're just going to go to the next one. That's how it is. So if you know your target market, that's basically essential. So what you need to do, find an excellent developer. So yes, where the developers get the credit. If you can find a developer that actually cares about your brand and like understands it, it's quite hard to do. And it takes time, and a lot of patience, especially because the thing is, like, I think Dane said it earlier, you know, like that communication between the developer and the actual person who wants the product from them, it's really, really important to do. Like, to try and get your developer to understand your brand and take time to explain to them, this is not the type of design I wanted, but then you must know what you want. Please don't tell the developer, this is what I want, and then when they come with their proposition, then you're like, I hate green. Why don't you tell them that? Like, please don't make the design in green, my brand's red. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at? So to be very, very specific with your developer, that really, really helps. It simplifies things, it makes everything easier. And even if you have to give them like working with a developer, like I find giving deadlines works, because the thing is, otherwise your expectation is in 2 days and they know it will take a week. So try and give them reasonable deadlines. Ask them, for example, I want this custom plugin, how long will it take you? Then they tell me, okay, it will take 6 hours of work, but obviously I've got another job, so I can maybe fit it in by next week Wednesday or whatever. We can look at the first trial run next week Wednesday. So if you talk to them, you'll be open to, for example, suggestions. Whereas you're just sitting there with your expectation like this developer must hurry up now. Meanwhile, they are sitting there doing their job, but your expectation was 2 days and theirs is a week. So that's the best thing to do, is to talk to them. This is why I'm saying get a good developer. The website needs to look good from the inside out. You can't build this really, really nice front end, but at the back your plugins are not up to date. Your stuff's crashing at the back end. It doesn't work. So essentially, if you are growing, you need to find a good developer that's like willing to do the back end stuff for you, unless they can maybe teach you how to at least update your plugins or do small things like that. That would be great. Then, if you've built a website, I've seen this with other people, don't just leave it there. Like, it promotes you 24/7, whether you like it or not. If somebody goes to Google page 10, like, your website's there. So it's promoting you in a sense without you even paying for it, because it's on the internet. So if you have a website, make sure it's dynamic, it's changing, there's something happening on it, there's something engaging on it. Even if you're like a service provider, for example, you're your own designer, you work for yourself, try and put some stuff on there that's interesting. Put your new designs on there, put your new clients on there. I would suggest even if you're trying to get new clients, like try and find a way to engage them in your website, even if you are just a service provider. It's very important. Otherwise, it's just another website, and unless they're 100% desperate for your service, they will not come to your website. Okay, user experience. Like it or not, the user always wins. Whether you're providing a service or a product, doesn't matter. Whoever's on your site, those are the people you want to engage. So they buy, they visit, they revisit, they decide. So at the end of the day, your consumer, your customer, is the most important factor in your website, actually. So to find out what they have to say, and that is why Google Analytics made Google Analytics, because you can actually see how many people bounce off your website, how many people actually click into certain pages, which pages they don't like. Another one I can actually recommend is Hotjar. I don't know if does anybody know about Hotjar? Very, very interesting. I caught quite a fright when I watched people on my website, because they record live sessions like of people actually drilling down on your website. And I found one lady, she was on our website for 23 minutes, and none of the filters worked like she wanted it to work. Like she would filter, for example, black extra large, and it would throw out everything with black extra large. She would go into 5 products, all of them have extra large out of stock. So do you understand? Like it should have filtered on stock as well, because then she by that time she was like over it, so she left. So the thing is, like, Hotjar is really, really good. You can also see what attracts people. Like, it gives you a heat map. I think it's called a heat map. And then you can see exactly where they move with their mouse. So which buttons, they like highlighted like a heat sensor. So which button is more clicked on. So it'll be like red, where they click the most, or green, where they move with their mouses and stuff. It's a very, very interesting experience to watch that. And actually you get a 30-day free trial with Hotjar. So if you want to try it, you don't like it, you can like go and sign up for something else. So what do you know about your users? If nothing, then run for your life, because they tear your website apart. And we've actually found this. They are the ones who find the mistakes, they find the problems, they find the loopholes. And essentially, if you think about it, that's what you want. Because for me, that's what I want. Like, I had to look at it from a viewpoint of, please tell me more, because I can fix it. It's not a case of like, oh, I hate this client, like she's always complaining about the site. But to think about like, whatever they find, we actually record now. So we have an info email, and if they find a problem, we actually record it now and we work on it. Like, we constantly improving it. Because that's how you improve your user experience. All right, is there any questions about user experience before I move on? All right, cool. Okay, customer service, service delivery. It's so weird because you think about like it's a website, there's so much back-end stuff that comes into it. But I've actually found that a lot of the times we deal with people as well. You deal with your website, you have to put your website up there, but dealing with people is actually the hard part, especially if you're a techie. Like I know the one guy that I knew, he like told me in my face, he's like, just stuff me in a room, give me a computer, I want to do coding. Like, don't put me up there in front where I have to do customer service. Like, I'm not that type of person. And it's so nice when they actually say that to you. So that's also better. Unless you're trying, because if you're trying to get this like IT guy who doesn't have people skills to try and interact with your customer, it can be very frustrating. Because literally he was one of the people that would just spit out technicalities at you. Like, he would not even be able to explain it in proper English. So even I had to be like, please, like, just break it down for me, because like I don't understand what you're saying. So try and find people or yourself that are good with people. They should be able to engage with people without having restrictions, without, you have people like that. I have a girl like that. She's completely over diligent. Like, she'll pitch up at work at 7:30, even if work starts at 8, you know, and she's the person who will stay later at shows because she loves people, not because she feels like she has to. She literally loves being there, and that's essentially the people you want as well. So the downfall of major companies is they have amazing friendly customer service. Like, it's a great customer service, but they have terrible service delivery. Like, that is just the truth. I've actually found with companies, if they grow, this becomes more and more of a problem, because when you're a small company, you deal kind of one-on-one with your customers. You want them to be happy, whereas a big company is kind of really friendly over email, but they never get done what needs to get done at the end of the day. Like, they'll keep emailing you like, are you okay, following up on the ticket, doing this and that, but at the end of the day, you're not happy with their service because they never delivered what you asked for in the first email. So that's also a very, very big thing we try and do. We try and follow up with customers afterwards, finding out if they're happy with our service, was there anything we missed, anything like that, and that's actually pretty important as well. Be the difference. So I always thought of the two concepts as being two different concepts, like customer service and service delivery, but it's actually part of customer experience, which is just one big concept. So there's a quote here. It was an anonymous quote, I don't know who said it. It is the act of taking care of the needs of the customer by providing service and assistance before, during, and I highlighted the during, and after the customer's requirements are met. So I can tell a little bit of a story. We have got a stock system that's situated in Hong Kong, London, Singapore, I think. So they've got like for every time zone, do you understand? So for example, if I'm contacting them at night, then maybe the Hong Kong department will answer me, but when it's in the day, then the London department will answer me. And don't get me wrong, I love their stock system, but I tell them in every email, I've actually inserted it as part of my signature to them. You have great customer service, but terrible service delivery. Because the thing is, what they do is they follow up, but they never get it done. Or they can never find the problem. So at the end of the day, by the time they've actually met your needs, you've solved it yourself. That's what we've realized. So your customer is seriously king, because I've actually told them a few times I'll go to another company because it really feels like that. It feels like they don't care about you then if you're struggling with them the whole time. Okay, I was told to do this by somebody else. So this is actually quite a big thing. I think we all deal with people who get frustrated, but there's two sides of it. We've all heard the cliche, the customer's always right, but there's another side to it as well. We actually, I'll use an example. The customer is always right when, for example, it's stated in your policies, you have to keep to it. Like for me, that's just fair. If they stick to within your policies, whether you like it or not, it can be a 3,000 Rand product. You can clearly see the person hooked it on something and tore it. You have to replace it if it's within 7 days, whether I like it or not. So that type of like policy, and if they're right, give it to them, because technically speaking, they are your lifeline. But then we've had customers who come after 8 months. They tell me, or they tell us, they have a helmet, for example, that they ride with, and it's dirty and sticky, and they want a new one. They want us to replace it for free. So literally, I'm really not joking. And they're very adamant about it. So our sales guy, he spoke to her on the phone, and she actually spoke herself into a little bit of a, she called herself, because she actually told him if she buys a new car, because she actually first told us she actually rides every day for more than 6 hours, leaves the helmet in the stable yard. So it wasn't like it was a technical difficulty. Sometimes if you leave them in the sun, it's also like sun damage. But then she was like, okay, if I buy a new car after 8 months, like, you know, I'm like, they will never treat me like this. But then we were like, okay, but if you drive the car off-road for 8 hours a day for 8 months, do you not expect it to get sticky and dirty? So it was kind of like, do you understand? Like we couldn't just give in, because then our policies go down the drain. And most of the time, actually, if you stick to your policies, a lot of the customers gain respect for you as well. Because companies who are like wishy-washy, like sometimes they give it to you, sometimes they don't. They don't actually know if you're official. Like that's just how you make it official. Like we've got a 7-day return policy, and it's on your website. So always put your policies on the website, and then make sure that there's nothing in there that can catch you. So no, they really do catch you. Like there's another lady who called us, and she was like, hey, I bought over 1,500 Rand, and you promised free shipping for everything over 1.5. So I was like, yeah, we kind of took that off. No, it's still on your policy list. So I had to be like, remove kind of thing. But like in that case, we gave it to her because it's just right. Like it was on your policies. I'm not going to go back on my word, so it's pretty cool. We've also had some other things like clients who refuse to pay. We have wholesalers as well with accounts. I don't know if anybody works like that. We've literally just refused to supply them with more stock unless they pay, and they get very upset with you, but at the end of the day, they pay you because they need the stock. So just kind of stick to your policies, I would say, and then when the customer is right, give it to them. But when they are outside the policy, you should also try to read the situation. Like, for example, we've had customers come back with products that are, I mean, if you buy something for 3,000 Rand, you expect it to last. Whether it's made in China, whether it's made in Taiwan or Pakistan, doesn't matter, you paid 3,000 Rand for it. And those customers we've actually helped out. Like we would be like, okay, we know this product is real leather, it's this, it's that, this thing broke. So it's literally a factory fault. Then we would like replace it and apologize and be really good about it, because you want that customer to also come back. You don't want to chase them away and be like, these are my policies, like, sorry, there's the door, because then you don't have a company anymore. Okay, how to keep them coming back for more. I'm going to very quickly work through this list. Consistent good service delivery, friendly and helpful, goes a long way. Keeping promises, very, very big thing. I don't know if anybody's read the book, The Purple Cow. Yeah, you recommended it to me, so that doesn't count. So actually, what Seth actually says is that like they drove in France and they were like driving through these beautiful like green pastures with cows grazing. And he said like the first 20 minutes was amazing. I was like, wow, look at that. You know, the Americans like it's beautiful. But then after a while, it got kind of boring. It's the same cows, it's the same grass, it's still beautiful, same mountain. And then he actually came up with the purple cow theory. So what that actually means is be different. And have something that makes you stand out, that make people want to buy from you. Because essentially there is the same products everywhere. It's very few products now that get invented that hasn't been there before. So you have to find something that makes you the purple cow, because if you see a purple cow, it's like, that's kind of what you want your customers to do. Okay. Admit mistakes and rectify and deal with it in an unbeatable way. Like, we've really gone out of our way. If we've made a mistake or an order has gone wrong, on Black Friday last year, we used a free plugin. I'm not going to shoot down free plugins because they're all good. We used a free pricing plugin and it crashed the day of Black Friday. So basically what happened is the first person that bought it at the right price, and then it just went down. So the last person that bought some stuff bought it for 2 cents. So it just kept, like, I don't know what it did, but it kept taking off discount. And you can be like, it's false advertising, it's this, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things. But what we did with those people is we actually called them personally, spoke to them, explained the situation to them. I mean, these are 2,000 Rand breeches, like pants, that we can't just give away for 2 cents. And they bought 10 of them because you're paying like 1 Rand. So you must understand, like, it's Black Friday. I hope I learned from that. But yeah, we learned from that. We bought the proper plugin the next day. So. But obviously you learn by mistakes, like there's no other way of learning from it. What we did with those people though is very, very good. We called them personally, explained the situation, and then offered them a free pair, and the other pairs at obviously the discounted price. And most of them were very happy with that. If they were unhappy, we gave them 2. So, and most of them are pretty happy with a free pair of breeches, because breeches are really, really pricey. So that's what we did. We kind of made up for it. Luckily it was only 10 clients and then we stopped it. So, but then some of it we actually gave away for 2 cents, 20 cents, I think a pair of boots. But then we did that because like our sales director was listening, those boots are all, there's like 2 sizes left of them, just give it away. So then it's kind of like you won on Black Friday, basically. Pay attention to your target market. So if your target market changes in something, like if there's something new, for example, I'll use an example of our product now, I know you guys don't understand, but we have horse riding pants, right? The latest thing now is that they put silicone here, so you stick to the saddle, which is a really, really good investment. Like it's really, like, people were, at the first they were like, you've got like sticky stuff on your bum basically, like walking around like that, it's not very comfortable. But once you're in the saddle, you know why, because you don't slip when the horse does something. So that was something very new, and we're actually very thankful because our brand came out with it like right after it was released. But that's what I mean by pay attention to your target market, to what's important to them. If there's something new in a teenager's life, if there's a new app, or if there's something new, be aware of it. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, be aware. This light is really making me very warm. I know. It's also because I'm pregnant. That's probably why. Add value into your website. So make people want to buy from you, if that makes any sense. Like, constantly have something that engages them. That's something we've found. Value in a sense of like, your product should also be really good quality, whatever you're offering. Like if you have like a service that you're offering, I would also suggest making up a package and like a list. So they can actually see like, in this package, if I want this marketing deal, or I want them to help me with this. This is actually what I'm getting. And like, this is the price I'm paying. And then like add extras like plus this one, for example, but you can get 10% off, kind of that type of thing. Same thing as how every other company catches you. Buy something for a year, buy the plugin for a year and get discount, or buy it per month and don't get the discount. That's kind of the same vibe there. So add value into what your target market wants. I've already said the coupons and vouchers. So free shipping, that always works for us. People love it. Essentially, like, it's, you know what I mean, like it's very cheap for us at least to send stuff. So you win either way because they buy more then. So you're kind of, with your profit, you're kind of marking it up and then just marking it down again after. Keep things fresh and new. A stagnant website doesn't work. Like, I know some of you guys are just a service provider. Change your banners. Don't change your whole look because people don't like that. Like, if you have a look, keep it. But change the banners or the images, or I've actually found something that's actually been, I'm trying to work on that, is to share what your team does. People love that. Like, they love background stories. They love stories of teams working together. They love magic. That's how it is. So if you kind of post, like we've posted like spring photos, we've posted like if somebody leaves the company, or, you know, that type of thing, like in a good way, bake a cake or whatever, have a birthday party and post about it. Even if it's on your Instagram story where it disappears, so that's fine. Except when people take screenshots, then it doesn't disappear. But I'm just trying to say, like, post about it. Facebook also has stories now, so post about it in something live. Also post about it on Instagram, because Instagram is a little bit more relaxed, if I can put it like that. Like, it's a little bit more of like a vibey place where you can share your work environment, you can share what you're doing, and people really, really like that, so go for that. Like, we always post when we go to shows. There's a lot of horse shows and we attend them. We've got a big mobile tack shop that we take with us. Tack being not sweets and stuff, but equipment. So we've got a mobile shop that we take to the shows and we actually post about it. We also make deals. Like, if you buy at that show, for example, you get only discount if you buy and you're at the showgrounds. So people like to come to our mobile tack shop and ask, like, hey, what's your special on this weekend? I'm not saying you always have to run a special, but nowadays that's kind of how you get attention. Be dynamic. Okay. Then I just need to talk about this a little bit. A design of a website. I don't know if you guys have seen Apple's website. Like, I don't know if you've seen what they've done on the website. Like, they took away all basically descriptions on their products and like these big columns of paragraphs of wording and whatever. If you go on their website, what you see is amazing shots of the products, and it makes you want to buy Apple. I don't have a Mac, but I mean, makes you want to buy it. That's essentially what it's about. So great, like, product shots is never a bad thing. Even if you're like a sole person working by yourself, photos of your workspace, photos of who you are, like photos of yourself, not like selfies, but proper photos of yourself. It really gives off a professional look. Like, a clean professional look is really, really important. Like Apple's site, you literally cannot, like, you cannot be on that website without looking at their actual product for more than 5 seconds. Like, you can catch yourself out, like, you're staring at this phone, you know what it looks like. But this shot is so amazing that it like captures you on, yes, I want this phone, or I want this laptop, you know. It's really, really excellent and well done. So you want to look at a clean, good look, but please don't go to your developer and be like, I want Apple's site. Like, on mine, it's there's a lot of people I think who do that, but yeah. The next thing is photography, or not photography, sorry, consistency. So if your brand has a certain look or color, to kind of stick to the same type of designs. Like, if you look at our website, it's always clean, very little on the actual banner or design, very little wording. I don't know, like, simplicity always wins for me. It just does. If it's like cluttered and there's too much information, people don't almost know where to look. So they go to something that's more simpler that they can understand. Then details. Focusing on details. I don't actually know how to explain this, but people who have designed for me knows. Because the thing is, for me, it's like that, it's never just good enough. Like, it should be exactly what you want, or you shouldn't share it or post it. Like, for me, that there's some finer details of like, move it a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. That's consistency, and that is really, really paying attention to small details really, really works. So if you're rushing a design, for example, I find it never turns out well. Postpone it for a day or two and then post something that's bam, like really amazing, really exactly what you wanted and clean. Because the tiniest detail is what separates your website from other websites. Like from being a good website and a bad website. It's literally small details to finer things on the website. A strong grid. So we have like a set layout of our website. We never change it. We obviously change the images and we change what we're offering. And we've got some cool effects on the website, like that's just my theme, but like you can make it rain or you can make it whatever, confetti fall. It's pretty cool. But what I'm saying is like your grid layout of the website should always kind of be the same, like your product look. If you're, for example, every week changing the way your website looks, that also doesn't work. People like consistency as well as being dynamic, so find the balance. Okay, hosting, I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. Just this is basically based on my experience of hosting. Doesn't mean that it's everybody's experience. Find a hosting company that can help you when you're in need. Like, I've had other website companies, I've also used a middleman. So they told me they're my hosting company, but then they go and find someone else to host because they don't have servers. Like, they're just the middleman. And what happened is basically they didn't pay my account, so my account got suspended. And then I asked them, and they're like, sorry, we don't do refunding on hosting. But I was like, okay, but who do you host? Don't you host my website? Like, who's hosting my website? And they didn't even know. They had to go look who they signed me up with. So that essentially is really, really bad. So make sure that your hosting company is good and they know what they're doing, and they're doing backups regularly, not replacing it like she experienced. Do regular backups. I cannot stress this enough. We've had quite a few incidences with that. We've had a shared server for a while. The only thing was that my website attracted a lot of traffic and we couldn't handle the server literally couldn't handle it. It was crashing. It also couldn't handle the syncing of 8,000 products. And like, you can increase it, but essentially to get a dedicated server, I'm really hoping this Black Friday will be better, because last Black Friday, that's what happened to us. They had to increase our connections from 50 to 75 just for 4 days. So we're hoping that the dedicated server helps. And it should be capable of handling your website's needs. Like, if you don't have a lot of traffic yet, don't worry about this. But once your website starts kicking out 500 errors, then you know, like, you've reached your resource limit. Those are the most terrible errors. I hate them. Maybe I just hate my website being down. Okay, get SSL if you're selling a product. Reason being that, like, it's basically, I can say what it is. It's an encrypted link between a web server and a browser, and it ensures that all the data basically that's passed between the web server and the browsers remains private. So what this means for buyers is you get that little green lock. I don't know if you guys have seen it. And it basically means their data is safe and they can buy from you without risking the somebody else getting their information or whatever. So basically, when you go to HTTP, it goes to HTTPS. That's a trusted website. But trust me, people know about it, so they are more willing to buy on your website if you have that instead of not having that, especially with payments, if they have to pay you a lot of money. Always keep all your software up to date, and test it first on a dev site or a offline site. We've actually updated without testing, and it's been a nightmare. If there's something small that goes wrong, like you maybe only find out afterwards that something in your checkout cart changes and you didn't even checked it, so now all of a sudden the checkout cart is like empty or it's just throwing out funny things. So maybe test on the dev site first and see if it changes, and actually go through all the steps and see if anything's wrong before you update. If it's small plugins, it's fine, but like big WooCommerce updates, WordPress updates, stuff like that. All right. Strong passwords. I think actually Nick mentioned it this morning as well. I find like it's very easy to make a password that you can remember. but it can be hacked. So for me, like to find a password that's this long, it's got capitals and numbers, and it's actually very annoying, but it's actually very important, especially to your admin areas and your servers. Like, make sure those passwords are quite strong, and maybe also change them on a regular basis. I've actually realized yesterday that I gave out my password to my hosting company, gave out my password to that company, to this company, and I've actually never changed it. And those are my personal admin details. Okay, I trust them, but still, it can happen. So try and also change your password. Maybe find a rhythm that only you know. Like, not a rhythm, like a, whatever, change the last one or something. That's everything on hosting. Then just some of our unique plugins. So we've customized a plugin that, well, I haven't. I came up with the idea, basically. So people can donate on our website to those two companies. They can actually choose their own amount. So that 20 at the bottom is editable. They can choose either one of the two. They can't choose both yet. We're working on that. But basically, they can donate to either one of those two companies, and then it goes into a register log. I send it to the company, and I transfer the money at the end of the month to them. So like the Highveld Horse Care Unit, basically like the SPCA, but for horses. And the South African Lipizzanos, really, really beautiful show. If you ever want to see something, you can go to their show. But yeah, that's a pretty cool plugin. That was a new add-on we did this year for people. So what happens is when they get to the checkout page, the website kicks out this little pop-up, and they can donate it once they click on donate, same as Take-A-Lot. I don't know who buys on Take-A-Lot, but you get that little pop-up of the beautiful gate home, I can't remember the name, donate R5. So it's so easy to just click on OK. So you try and make it as easy as possible to donate to charities, otherwise people just start debating it, basically, and then they're like, no, let's just close it. Obviously, you should give them the option to close it, like, please make a little cross or a close button, because it's very annoying. Like, if you go onto a website and you can't get out of a pop-up, I hate it. Seriously, I hate it. I'll go to another website right away. Like, it must give you, like, a proper indication. Sometimes they hide the little cross thingy, and, like, you can, like, browse around looking for it for ages, just to get out. No, after all, you just open a new tab. That's one of the plugins. The other one we did is, so WooCommerce has this little, or WordPress, they have this bubble, a red one, and it says sale in it. So we've kind of, like, they've written me like a unique plugins to change this. So I can change the color of it very, very easily. Yes, you can do it with coding, but I can literally, it's like a little plugin for me. I can just go in there, change the color, change the wording, and apply it to a full category on my website. So if I make a category, for example, for one sale, Black Friday sale, I can put on there any color I want in a bubble with the wording. It's pretty cool. So this is just to show you what can be done with, like, custom coding on WordPress. Then this one as well. So the other one is like I don't know, we call it a custom badge. It doesn't have anything to do with discount percentages. It's just, you can put wording in there, like anything. And it also adjusts the bubble. So the bubble will become longer. If I say like new arrivals, it becomes longer on the product. Oh, and it also blocks out the actual WordPress one, the WooCommerce bubble. So otherwise you've got like two bubbles like over each other. We've actually had that. I have a few screenshots of the errors that came up. So it blocks out the other bubble as well. So it only shows yours. This is pretty cool as well. So for every percentage, we can show a different color. It might sound stupid, but it actually makes a lot of sense. If you, for example, do a percentage bubble, you can do it, but it'll all come up in red, or for example, all in black or whatever. So what this plugin does is just makes it very, very easy for me. It just has discount percentages, and I can change the color of each category. So every percentage has like its own color. So it's just pretty cool. Or you can make them all the same. That's pretty cool as well. And then I think that's it. Okay, front end builders. My website, my laptop might die. But anyway, so this example was just something I got from the web. It just basically shows that we're not all good designers. So somebody out there thought that was a good layout for a website. So what it essentially I'm trying to get at is, if you're not good with layout, images, banners, try and get a front-end builder. Some of the good ones I mentioned, there's Elementor, Visual Composer, Beaver Builder. Personally, I found a theme with a UX builder, but it's only in that theme, FlatSim theme. I don't know if anybody knows FlatSim theme, yeah? Does anyone know it? It's really worth a try. Unfortunately, it does cost money, so you have to buy it. But once you have it, it's extremely editable, so anyone can base like playing on Paint. That's what it feels like. That's how easy it is for me. To change the home page and edit in a UX builder is really, really great. Obviously, if you can't do that, then you can just get a developer. They can do the same thing for you as well. Or you can use one of those. And you can also just, there's a tip at the bottom there to use a predefined layout. So that's what you do when you buy the themes. And you just like kind of put in your own content. And you can still move it around. You know, it's not like you have to stick to that. You can move it around. And there goes my laptop. So yeah, that's the front end builders. Can't remember what else was on my slides. Can't they throw it out from the back thing because they've got it? No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Literally, I think I have 2 slides left, so it's fine. Then, yeah, I think the last thing was just vital plugins for your website. I'm going to try and remember everything now. Maintenance mode, very important. I found if you're, like even if my hosting company does an update or anything, they inform me. And I literally put my website on maintenance mode basically just for the reason that they don't get to the website and there's nothing. Like it's just like throwing out errors. I like customizing my maintenance mode so it has my logo. It says like, sorry for the inconvenience, we can just, we'll be back in a few minutes or whatever. That's an important one. Word fence. I can't remember all the rest now. But there's quite a few that's actually really important to run a website with. I can't remember anything. So it's fine. And then one of the things that I think is really, really important is never be mediocre. Like never be boring. I find with our website it really, really helps if you're always kind of a step ahead. Like always invent something new, think up something new and find a way to implement it. Don't think it's impossible. It's possible on WordPress and WooCommerce. Thank you. I think that's it. Is there any questions? Has there questions?
Actually,
Yeah.
it makes me feel like I'm a really mean person.
No, it's fine.
Thank you.
I'm glad because it's life is so hard.
Thanks so much, Hannah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Our next speaker is the MD of MoneyWeb, which is a multi-platform digital marketing and digital money site, which will update you with all of the financial information. Nick Wilson spoke earlier about from the technical side, and now Mark Ashton is talking about hacking your startup to market. Thanks so much, Mark. You can go there. You can go there, or you can have the roaming mic.
Hello, everybody. Can everyone hear? Can you hear me at the back there, Paula? Cool. Hello, everybody. My name's Mark. The original program said that. Sorry, I have a very annoying habit that I tend to pace. If I pace too much, please throw something at me. So originally on the program, we were going to be, myself and Lisa were going to present this presentation. Unfortunately, she got hauled off to Cape Town. So she's asked me to speak, but she gave me one proviso. I can't discourage anybody from starting a business. So, the reason she does is she feels I'm a bit of a pessimist. I discourage everybody from doing anything innovative or developing businesses, startups, etc. But it actually isn't that. I think part of my thinking around this has always been that often we become tech before. We love our tech, we love to build stuff, but we forget that business gets done amongst people. So do you guys all know each other? Does everybody know everybody? No. Okay, so that's interesting. I think this is the theme I want to ultimately build on. There are a couple of people here. I'm going to do a quick couple of introductions. Does everyone know Nick Wilson? He spoke earlier. Okay, so Nick is my guiding hand on a day-to-day basis when I need a sanity check in a media company. Morgan in the front here. Morgan does our MoneyWeb TV channel. Next to is Carolyn. Carolyn does our e-commerce. and general, yeah, I don't know how we would survive without her. Next to that, Mareka is our front-end dev. She's all the way up from Mossel Bay. If you're ever looking for front-end dev or anything along those lines, she's a fantastic resource to bounce things off. Paul at the back there is actually head of e-learning for Wits University in the health sciences faculty. But I think the thing about this presentation has always been that we become so excited about our tech that we forget that we actually have to do business with people. And I want to start this off with an interesting exercise. How many of you guys have done any business today? You done? Okay, that's excellent. I mean, I think it's really encouraging. I mean, I think often I come to these presentations and we end up standing up front here and people talk at an audience and nobody actually walks away with any real business being done. We kind of look at each other and say, well, the person standing up front knows far more than everybody else in the audience, and therefore they're going to guide us and give us the stunning piece of insight that's going to help our business kickstart. And I think the reality is that we need to start talking to each other. We need to start doing business with each other. Because if you're going to get any startup out the door, it doesn't matter how good your tech is, it doesn't matter how fantastic your PowerPoint is. Reality is business gets done with people. So I thought I'm going to start this off with me giving you something. But there's a proviso to it. If you want anything from me, you have to connect with me on social media. So if you go and find me on LinkedIn, it's Mark with a C, M-A-R-C, at MoneyWeb for the email, or Mark Ashton on LinkedIn, or ZA Mark Ashton on Twitter. And I'm going to start this off by actually giving some stuff away. Anybody got a startup that wants some advertising? Okay, perfect. Any of you, can you drop me an email? I'll give you 10 grand's worth of banner advertising on MoneyWeb. Okay, mark at moneyweb.co. Any of you guys got any video content that you want to, nicely put together video content talking about your business? Okay, cool. You can mail Morgan, M-O-R-G-A-N, at moneyweb.co, and she's going to give you a little bit of a punt on her platform. Any of you painfully shy and would love to know a little bit about selling? Cool, okay. Mail me, and we've got a sales course that we developed. Again, it's Market MoneyWeb. I'll give you the course is about $1,400 or $1,500, but you ask for it, I'll give it to you. And I think the whole point of this exercise has been, this is not me just kind of standing up here and giving, I'm not Oprah Winfrey, I promise. Okay. The purpose of this is to start a bidirectional communication. And the thing about this is going to be that you're going to start reaching out to me. I mean, I think the thing that you often have is that somebody stands up here, we're going to go to tea after this, we're all going to be too scum to go and talk to each other. And the reality is we all need each other, and we all need it in our ecosystem to get our businesses out the door. And hopefully by going out and me putting something out into the ecosystem, you guys see some value out of it. You contact me, we can start an ongoing relationship. And I think that this is how business actually gets done in the real world. And my presentation is going to be about 3 startups that we've incubated over the last, probably 3 years, Nick, 2 years? What's the after? Yeah, okay, call it 2 years. So we were listed on the JSE for 20 odd years. We're a media group. So does anyone know MoneyWeb, by the way? Maybe that's probably good. Okay. So MoneyWeb was listed on the JSE up until 2 months ago. It had been listed in the dot-com boom, 1998. It founded in 1998, listed up until 2017, August 22nd. And, it was really interesting. I mean, we were probably from time to time depending on when you looked, we were one of the smallest businesses listed on the JSE. But we had a bit of cash, so people were constantly coming to us and saying, please invest in our business, please tell us how to incubate us, give us startup capital, all those fine things. And we end up seeing a hell of a lot of business plans along the way. And what was really interesting is there's a lot of demand for money. We all want capital. We all want things to get us our businesses out the door. But it's actually not money that most people need. And I always use the analogy, and for some reason people always come to you and say they want $2 million. I don't know where that number comes from, but $2 million seems to be the stock standard answer on the business plan. And I always say, $2 million it's like taking a 2 million rand Porsche and parking it in your driveway. Anybody here, I mean, I don't know if anyone in the driveway, anyone in the room can take a 2 million rand Porsche and put it in their driveway right now. But if you've ever tried to run a 2 million rand Porsche, it's hell of expensive. And if you're putting it on credit, that credit adds up very, very quickly. As some background, you know, the venture capital industry, anyone ever successfully raised money from a venture capitalist? That's not friends, fools, or family. Okay, so venture capital in South Africa is very much a myth. Anyone who thinks that they're going to raise money through a VC, I can pretty much tell you, you're smoking your socks. Average size of a VC deal in South Africa is about 7 million rand. You have to be, you effectively need to be post-revenue. You need to have pretty much proven your business case, existing clients. You're not going to get VC. And in fact, it's really interesting. It's actually cheaper to list your business on the AltX than it is to get venture capital in South Africa. It's the most bizarre thing, and it's something we just have a very weird ecosystem. It's too expensive to go and raise capital. There's some exciting things that are happening now with Section 12J, where there's some money available to go and invest in startups. But anybody who thinks that they're going to go and get startup capital is, I think you'd be pushing your luck if you kind of working on a business plan that's going to raise capital in South Africa. So then it says, well, what are the other options? And I want to take you through 3 of them that we've looked at over the last 3 years. The first was a video production business. They had gone to Endeavour, and Endeavour had said we'll put some money in. It was never going to be enough to get them out the door. These guys had 30, each of them had about 30 odd years worth of experience in video production. They gave us a business plan. We thought, you know, it's very exciting, but all the promises in the world, we're really not sure that we can get this out the door. And, you know, when that deal started out, they put 5 million rand on the table. That was what they thought equity in their business was worth. Now, bear in mind, it's a startup. It has nothing, it's got plenty of experience there, but it certainly doesn't have a real world proven business case. In video production, if anyone's ever been involved in video production, it's commoditized to the death. It doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how creative you are, it probably costs you, everyone can do video production with the right kind of people mix. So we say, okay, well, this is interesting, and we know we need video as part of our ongoing strategy. And instead of actually buying that business, we effectively said, cool, come on board, we'll contract you for a period of time. You can play off our resources. We will go and use our sales team to see and really go out there and test it, because they didn't have a sales team to start with. They didn't have back office support. There were 2 people with passion and promises and all of these things, and we still work with them. But we were able to go and say, all right, look, we think that what you've got here is an interesting business model. We don't think that there's necessarily a case for us to put 5 million into it. But what we will do is we will go and say, let's incubate this inside of our own structures. We'll kick in where we think we can put in, so it'll be back office support, it'll be sales. We would be able to use a MoneyWeb website to go and push out content. And it was really interesting to go and say, will this work? And, you know, like most startups, it didn't work. That's me being completely brutal. It did not work. What it did discover, though, was that inside of MoneyWeb, we found that we had capacity to build a video production team. We actually did an event yesterday, live streamed the entire event. I think there were about 11,000 people or whatever who watched it, or 11,000 connections. It gave us a capacity that we didn't necessarily have 3 years ago. But that was an incremental process where we went through saying, we want to test the skill. So there wasn't really a business there. And that's the thing with a lot of these startups, is that there isn't necessarily a business, there isn't a market, but what it can do is it can fit in to a whole lot of other business processes that were out there. That then led to a second business that we looked at. It was 2 people we knew who were looking to develop a financial education initiative, so a learning program. And what they wanted to do was they needed video production to start with. And we said, okay, cool, well, hold on a second, we can do this. And same story, they brought us their business plan and they said 5% of equity was a couple million rand. No, it's not. And what we do, we took that business and we said, fine, what we'll do is we'll actually sink the production costs for you. We'll build this course. It was about 8 hours worth of financial education. You can take it out to market. You prove that you can sell it. It wasn't something that was core to us. But what we would do is start building that as we went along. And over time, we started to build this course out, and we tried it as a B2C play, and it was simply a flop. I mean, probably did about 200,000 worth of sales, 200,000 rands worth of sales out of it. But in the bigger scheme of things, that was completely off the business plan. But if we'd gone and sunk the money up front, every one of us would have burnt. Here we were able to say, let's go and just incrementally try it out. What actually ended up coming out of that, well, there were two things that came out of that, was that we found there was actually a B2B play. And what was interesting was when we were selling to consumers, we do about 600,000 or 700,000 uniques through our site every month. And there is no, you would think that we have somewhere in that audience a massive number of people who want financial education and will be prepared to pay 3,000 Rand for a course. We found it's an impossible sale. And unless you have a dedicated specialist sales skill in there, they were not ever going to get that thing sold. They've tried different ways of doing the B2C play. Where it did work was that we were able to go and say, let's go and make this a B2B play. We do have a B2B audience. We have access to executives. We have access to people in financial, as the FD, or guys that are looking for BE type training. We never once took any equity in that business, but we were able to go and use that as an initial resource to be able to go and build out and go and take to market. But 2 years later, in fact, we now have a MoneyWeb campus, which is our online e-learning thing. And we took a lot of learnings out of that particular, it actually fed into a lot of our transactional stuff. Again, is there a proven business in that single Wealthy Ever After course? We don't necessarily think so, but what we have been able to do is go and kickstart our own e-learning business out of it. And the third example is quite fun. Digital media is a horrible game to be in. Anything that puts you up against Google, Facebook, Amazon, it really is not the world's easiest market to be in. And what we do know in that particular business is that we do have access to a significant number of people with high net worth individuals, and they're looking for investment product. And we've been kicking this thing around for about a year and a half, saying, well, how do we make this, how do you monetize that? Because it doesn't come out of selling banner ads, I can promise you that. You go great doing that. What it does do is say, all right, well, we want to start collecting some big data around our audience, profiling them, working on what financial products they use, et cetera, et cetera. But data is data. We can't. Can you monetize data? You can, but you've got to, it's very difficult to push it over the hump. And what we did do is we came across we were actually really fascinated to be on the other side of our. We want to put ourselves in a client's shoes. And we went to a small, unknown financial services provider. They were licensed. They had some nice products. Their big problem was they needed marketing. And we said, cool, we want to do an experiment with you. We want to go and take your products, your services, and we want to go and say, we're going to market them for you. And we're going to see how well we can do with it. We want to work out whether our data element works versus our banner advertising versus content marketing versus radio. And we started doing this over the last probably 9 months, 10 months. And what was really interesting, obviously we proved the case banner advertising is not the most effective marketing tool. And we started tracking each of the things. And what we did find was that we were able to move their assets under management just using our big data by 50, this week it'll be 50 million. The way we set up that particular deal was that for every 10 million we brought in, we would take 1% of equity in their business. There's no risk to anybody. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. I mean, we have inventory to do. But we wanted to go and say, can we go and take existing products to market, take an existing brand, using our data and prove a case for it. Again, none of us has taken any risk in terms of equity. I think we've become very equity. We believe that there's value where there isn't necessarily value. Value comes out of there has to be a buyer and a seller. And I think the thing when you look at, you start valuing your startup is that you say, well, my startup's going to be worth X amount. You've got your J-curve, you've got all these fantastic things. So when somebody says, well, I'm prepared to put something into your business, it's never going to meet your expectations because you're expecting some evaluation 5 years down the line rather than a valuation that's here and now. And the thing is, most of the time the capital that you need isn't financial capital. It's access to networks, it's access to people. And that's why I come back to my original thing about business here. I'm doing a tech presentation at the moment without any tech because I think that it's something that we've forgotten when we want to get our business out the door is that we want to talk to each other. and we need to talk to each other, and we need to sell to each other. And I think if I can leave you with one thought, sorry, I'm just trying to catch up a bit of time as well here, but if I can leave you with a thought, is that we do actually need to start talking to each other. I can build the best tech in the world. I can have, we're a 20-year-old startup. We're still trying to work out how to monetize digital advertising. But ultimately, the thing that's kept us alive is the fact that we sell to real people. And we do a lot of the most amazing trend is that despite digital advertising growing everywhere around the world, most of the time most people want offline advertising. They want to talk to real people. And this idea, when you look at the startups, is everybody says, and I think the presentation before made a very good point, was that build it and they will come does not work. Every single customer is an ongoing, it's dialogue. And it's part of the ongoing experience. And the ongoing experience is because they believe the brand that they talk to. And I really think that if you guys are going to go out there and you're going to say, I've got a startup, the startup has to solve a people's problem. I don't know how many other ways to say it. Your Discovery was never started because there was a whole lot of money made available. Discovery solved a particular problem that R&B had. And this is the thing that we need to start getting into our heads, is that we're going to go out to tea, and there's a tea break, I think, in about 10 minutes' time. You guys need to start having discussions with each other. You need to have a discussion with me. I mean, I come here because I want to do business. I don't come here because I want to tell you my view on the world. I mean, that's what Twitter's for. Please follow me on Twitter. The point is, I want to have discussions. I want to create. I want you guys to tell me what your problems are and see if we can connect up. I mean, maybe has anybody got a burning problem, a client they can't access at the moment? Sorry, a client that you can't access, or an industry that you're trying to break into. Is that you?
I have a rather large problem with advertising.
Yeah.
And I run a sex toys business.
Sorry?
I run a sex toys business.
Okay, yeah.
And no mainline advertisers will actually take us. You got a solution?
Yeah, I mean, look, so, I mean, it will come down to, I mean, I don't know whether you've tried the influencer marketing thing and results.
Yeah, it works up to a point. But we can't, one of the big problems we're having is we can't advertise on Facebook.
Yep.
If you look at like the News 24s, the Sowetans, things like that, they kind of push us out.
Okay.
They're not interested in taking us. So we actually struggle to find big content sites with an audience that will actually let us advertise.
I think my mother actually applied for a job at your company, if it's the same company. It's a true story, actually. Okay, so one of the things that actually so one of the ways to turn it around is, and I'll go back, and I'll take another example. I spoke at a presentation about 3 or 4 months ago, and there was a lady. She does consulting, and she doesn't want to go and ever talk. She doesn't want to pick up the phone and talk to people. And in fact, her biggest gripe is she has to get in an Uber and go and talk to clients. And she said, well, how do I go and change that? I don't like talking to people. People don't like talking to me, and I don't like talking to people, but I really need to sell something to keep my business going. So, I mean, one of the ways to turn it around, I don't know, and like I said, I'm completely spitballing here at the moment, but is doing industry surveys. So, turn around, so let's survey an industry. And it's not about... it's not about branding. It's not about that. It's saying, guys, I want to create an ongoing discussion with you. Do you want to receive information from me? A lot of the one of the things we find enormous success with is, and we never tell people who the advertiser is, but have you ever put, News 24 in fact had their annual, it wasn't News 24, it was Finweek before it went through its rebranding. Finweek actually used to do an adult sex survey. And it was all about what were the vices that the executives in South Africa particularly had, and it was a very, very popular insert. And the way they did it was when they surveyed the audience, said, are you interested in contributing to this survey? There's no branding attached to it, but what it will give you, it'll give you first name, surname, email address, age and demographic that you fall into. And it was interesting in that particular survey that when they started it, I think 30% of the respondents were women. By the time they got to the last survey that they ran, it was pretty much 50-50. And which brands do you recognize? Is it Lollipop Lounge versus Lola Montez? And it's a way to turn it around and say, this is a topic that people want to talk about, and you want to take out the sleaze element to it if you want to use it. But everyone around you knows it and participates in some way, shape, or form. And you can go and you can kind of go around the thing and say, well, how many people? If I give you an anonymous survey and there's 30 people in the room, and say, guys, I want you to go and fill in the survey for me. That would be one of the ways that I would turn it around, and I can guarantee that at least half the people will probably, and if there's an incentive for it, 5,000 Rand voucher for me to go and participate in the survey, I think that there's an opportunity. People will participate. Branding is not everything in a particular advertising segment. Other question, challenge, thought? It's a good question. I'm thinking it over in my head. Come, guys, anything? Problem, challenge, client?
I run I guess you could say, controversial Afrikaans online publication.
Okay.
And one of the biggest sticking points that I have in terms of advertisers, so we'll basically during the tea break,
Okay.
is it's very male orientated, and most brands or companies don't want to get involved because of the edgy, this is actually the word that they use, content. So how do you think there's a way for me to, because I know the audience is there, and the audience is not going to get a negative connotation to the brand just because they are on there, because the audience already likes my
The content,
brand.
yeah.
So how do you think I can reach that wall?
I don't know if you guys, I don't know how many of you in marketing, but there's a brand that used to be called Lokshan Culture. Lokshan will go back probably goes back about 20 odd years. And at the time, they had no money for branding. People didn't recognize that you can't go and compete against what would have been Adidas or whatever the popular brands at the time were. And they actually spent a lot of time using musicians, for instance, and they were taking the brand out and they were representing the brand. And you obviously, if you have an audience, you have brand ambassadors that will take it out for you. And playing off that audience, and again, you don't have to do, I think sometimes when you look at branding, like we run a website, we have 12 million unfilled impressions every month. There's not necessarily the idea of throwing things into branding is not necessary. You can be far more tactical about it by going and saying, guys, you've got a network. It's a closed network. It's an intimate network, if you like. But what I need you to do is I need you to go and engage your audience in one way, shape, or form. To go and say to me, I want to grow this audience and make it demystify a lot of what's out there. Again, you come back to the sex industry. I mean, what did Lollipop Lounge, not Lollipop Lounge, teasers. I mean, it was done. It was a brand that ultimately, if you go into a teaser, I can guarantee you that the audience is not all male anymore. People have demystified it over many years, and Lolly Jackson made it. Lolly, for all his faults, made it one of those things where people would go and say, I'm actually proud to go there. It's not that I am trying to make it sleazy. I mean, Lolly will always tell you the story whenever he got caught speeding on a Sunday, he would tell you he was on the way to church. So he became this idea, he created this persona that represented an industry that was to some degree sleazy, but has ultimately been able to go and say, I've got ambassadors who do believe what I do and will go out there and represent me. You didn't see, apart from, yes, you'll have the billboard stuff, but a lot of it's word of mouth. It's by engaging the audience and making it worthwhile that ultimately made that brand as strong as it was. Okay, anything that doesn't involve sex at the moment.
So I'm trying to gamify reading, but in a way that focuses on fun, less on education, but actually focuses on fun and focuses on, well, the target market would be like 7 to 14.
Yep.
Kind of want to approach 7 to 18. The other issue is where the target market is. But I focus on actually getting them to play the game, but also engage in reading. And I did a crowdfunding campaign and everything, but the issue I'm having is actually getting conversions, actually telling people, hey, it's a good idea, but like also fund me so I can actually get it out there.
I mean, who is the target market? Who makes a buying decision for it?
See, that's the issue, is that it will appeal to the kids, but the parents are the ones with the money. So it would actually need to be the parents. Yeah, it would have to be the parents.
So I mean, there's two things. I mean, okay, maybe give me a little bit more color. I mean, what does it cost? What's the investment from a parent's perspective?
Well, the game would probably cost between, depending, it's probably about 300 Rand, 400 Rand.
And it's ready to go now. Ready to go
No,
out
no,
the
it's
door.
not.
How far are you?
Oh, like a few years. So sorry, what I'm actually trying to do is get funding to be able to fund it.
Yep.
But I'm going through crowdfunding because I believe that it's best if I have community involvement in it, so that, because I don't have all the answers, so I want the community involved so that I can actually make it so that it actually helps people.
So I mean, I think the thing with crowdfunding. I mean, what's the experience? I mean, what platforms? What's your experience been like?
So this is actually my first crowdfunding campaign. It's going horribly.
Okay.
And I'm using Indiegogo.
Okay.
And I'm asking for $100,000, which is quite a lot. Yeah, and it's not going well.
So I mean, one of the things that I would say, I mean, $100,000 is, excuse the French, but it's a shitload.
Yeah.
You really are going to battle, and remember, particularly if you're starting off with a South African audience, you need to give people a hurdle that they can get over. If it's too far down the line, I mean, I go onto a crowdfunding site and I see the thing is too far, the target's never going to be reached. There's no enthusiasm to go there and do it, and you need to build a whole lot of enthusiasm around. And the reality is that you're one person. You need some kind of champion around this to drive it. I mean, you could go to a business and say, guys, get every one of your employees to contribute to this and I'll give you the game for free. But I think you also need so there's a lady called Nikki Bush. If you go and find her on Twitter, I don't know if you know her.
No.
So Nikki's incredibly influential in that space. I think it's BUSCH if my memory is right. Go and talk to her. She's she will at least give you some pointers around it. She's written a couple of books, plays quite actively in the remedial and special. And again, I'll come back. Paula's played in the remedial and special education space for the last 20 odd years. She's an influencer in that space. Go and talk to her, see if she's got other recommendations for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But narrow down who your target market is as well. I mean, I always say that in one of my sidelines, I try and I'm involved in a handbag business for all sorts of weird reasons. But it's one of the cool. I think that the two girls who run it have got a fantastic story.
Yeah.
I think that they're just the unluckiest entrepreneurs out there. They're so close. They will eventually crack it. But we were talking about who their target market is, and often they will say, well, it's women. And I would actually argue, I bought 3 or 4. In fact, plus some for work. I probably bought 6 of these handbags. And the thing about it is they make it easy. They go and they say, well, this is what your girlfriend, or this is what your person at work is going to, somebody that you work with is going to want, or your client, or whatever it is. I'll make it straightforward for you. And so actually the audience, and they were going to do a push for Valentine's Day. The audience is actually guys. And the guys will pay $1,000 because they don't know any better to pay $500 for the freaking handbag. But that is what, again, you need to narrow down who you're selling to. And that's one of the experiences that I've had with something like that. But I think as a parent to kids, I feel guilty because I don't have time to go and make sure that my kid reads. I mean, in fact, reading is my kid's single biggest challenge at the moment because he sits on YouTube the whole time. And yes, it'll make him a fantastically smart kid at some point, but he's actually got to read just so that he can pass, so that he can prove that he's a fantastically smart kid. So maybe the target market is, and I don't know the answer, but maybe the target market is guilty parents. But then you got to say, well, my marketing, my messaging is guilty parents, and I want to make them aware that there's this tool out there for $300 or whatever the number is, and it's going to be rolled out in the next 6 months. Whatever, you got to give them a time frame. You got to say, this is the client, this is the target market, and be quite specific about it, and then go after it.
Yeah, thanks. No, that's great. I've decided to re-strategize, think around it. So, thank you. Thanks.
Any others before I wrap up, so you can guys? Okay, guys, it's like I said, this is my 30 minutes of fame. I really expect you guys to network and talk to each other, and I don't have the answers for everything, but I hope that at least I give you a little bit of an alternative consideration. I believe, is it tea now? If there's tea, please maybe take that as the focus to go out and talk to people. It's really about talking to and doing business. Tech is great, but tech takes you so far, people is going to push you over the line.
Thanks so much, Mark. A couple of announcements. Firstly, you can change your mind about not going to the after party now. We have managed to arrange that there is some alcohol, so I don't know if that suddenly increases our attendance. Secondly, we've got a few more thank yous. These are sponsors who didn't put money down, but instead gave us a lot of support in terms of thing. MoneyWeb was an amazing media partner and media sponsor, so thank you so much to Mark Ashton and his team at MoneyWeb. Really, it made a huge difference. And also to EpNet Live, who is actually responsible for the live streaming, which is actually pretty cool because we managed to beat Cape Town with that. Cape Town didn't have a live streaming, so if you can give them all a round of applause, that would be great. And then we'll be back at 4:20. So have some tea, make some friends, and remember there's the after party to make even more friends and make some more connections. Thanks so much, guys.